I'm salutations to Sri Ganesha, who has a curved trunk, large luminous body, and whose splendor is similar to a million suns. O Deva, or O Lord, please make my undertakings free of obstacles by extending your blessings and all my work always. So this like I ain't know what to call it, so it's just astrology 101. You feel me? Just going over like the basics of a chart. I'm going back to the basics myself, so that's why I did that, John. So Job in the Bible, Job 38:32, God is he talking to Job and he asking him a series of questions. Job had gotten into assumptions. He got into a state of mind called assumptions. He's making assumptions. God asked Job, he said, can you lead forth the Mazzaroth in their season? Or can you guide the bear with his children? Feel me? You might can't. We can't. I ain't gonna cap. You can't lead forth the Mazzaroth. You can't guide forth Polaris and the Pole Star with their children. God can though. So he tells Job to brace yourself like a man. So let us brace ourselves like men and women and make space for God rather than edge God. If God can do the Mazzaroth, if God can guide the Pole Star, and I mean that's one of the ways that God gonna speak to us. You do what I'm saying? Rather than assume things, He's gonna speak to us. So what is astrology? Let's begin with a bunch of definitions. Astrology is a symbolic study of cosmic patterns and influencing human experience. Jyotish refers to astronomy and it's not explicitly translated as study of light. A Jyotisha is a person who studies light. Astronomy is the study of celestial objects and the arrangement of stars. Astronomy's etymology, it means star arranging, right? So and then the final definition is cosmology. Cosmology is the study of the origin, nature, and fate of the universe, right? Astrology is the study of how those planets and celestial objects, their fate and our fate. You feel me? Because planets got origin stories, right? So let's talk about the history of astrology. They say 30,000, but let's just say the beginning of time. You feel me? The stars always been there. Early humans tracked lunar phases and celestial patterns. You feel me? Marks bones, cave walls, and that's the prehistoric roots of astrology. By 3000 BCE, the Sumerians and Babylonians began to develop an early form of an astrological system. They linked certain planetary movements to certain events. So, for instance, Sun in Ardra is the time of monsoons, heavy rains, or that summertime thing where it's like, man, it get humid, then it just pour down rain, and then it's back sunny, and then it's so they call that that's Earth's menstrual cycle. You feel me? So 2000 to 1000 BC, Babylonian astrology becomes more systemized, with the zodiac emerging as a 12-part division of the sky. So those 12 parts is kind of like the houses. The houses is like the firmament, and the signs is your Mazzaroth. But let's continue. We'll get to that. 500 BCE, Hellenistic astrology flourishes in Alexandria. It blends the Babylonian, Egyptian, and Greek thought. So Alexandria is like Egypt, but it's still the Greek influence is coming up. Right. So this is the birth of what we call the horoscope, the natal chart, planetary rulerships, and their influences. 200 Common Era, right? So like Rome. Claudius Ptolemy writes the Tetrabiblos. This is a foundational text for Western astrology for like even currently. Like it's say for centuries, but even currently. So Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, who writes the ISIS paper, she defines Western as white. Like Western is just another word for white. And if it's white, it ain't always right. So Ptolemy bases the Tetrabiblos on Sumerian tablets that were 3,000 years old when they found them and translated them, maybe, right? And Western astrology bases their foundation is based on the Tetrabiblos, which is, you feel me, 2,000 years old from now. That's how old it is. It's not factoring in the precession. You feel me? And those calculations are really old, outdated. Medieval period. Islamic scholars, they preserve in it because, they're going to destroy the library, try to get rid of things that empire and that culture falls. So they try to preserve it and expand it. So they come up with parts of fortune and vertexes and things like that. When they translate them and integrate them, they integrated with medicine and alchemy also. So then you get Renaissance Europe. Astrology is taught in universities. It's used by physicians, philosophers, and royalty. You get individuals like Copernicus, Galileo, Newton, all of these individuals. 18th, 17th century, 17th, 18th, scientific revolution leads to a decline in astrology and academia. Astronomy and empirical science kind of diverge and they go their own way. They want to prove themselves that way. Apart from symbolic interpretation. 20th century, another revival through psychological and archetypal frameworks, but you got to understand it's repeating the Ptolemy shit. It's just repeating. It's white shit. So it's like, ooh, Carl Jung was talking about this. That's why it's popular. That's cool, but if you go back to basics, you'll see what's always there. 21st century, digital tools and apps make astrology widely accessible. It's not to like take it away from them, but it just I myself have to always get that grain of salt with mine. It evolves as a tool for self-reflection, identity, and timing of events. So the horoscope. The horoscope is Kundali is a diagram of relative positions of planets and signs at a specific time and over a specific location. Right, latitude, longitude. The horoscope is what we use to interpret. So the diagram changes depending upon like where you at, who you come up under the system and stuff. But the basics is made of 3 parts. It's going to have houses, signs, and planets. So let's go over the type of charts. So you got the common circular Western chart where it puts the signs on the outside, the house number on the inside, and then it puts the planet in that space in between, that light blue space, right? Then you have the North Indian Kundali chart, and it's kind of fixed houses also. The signs change. So the signs are represented by numbers. 12 is Pisces, 1 is Aries, 2 is Taurus. You feel me? But the first house is always that first leaf in this flower. Another thing with this chart, you see the different types of houses. So they have a thing, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, and those are they always be in the same spot. It also has what they call a Kendra. This is the wheel inside the chart. This is the core. It kind of keeps you going and stuff like that. It represents the core of your identity, and it, apart from, because the ascendant is there. And they're all derivative of one another. 7th house is derivative of the 1st house, 4th house is derivative of the 7th, and 10th house is derivative of the 7th. You know what I'm saying? All right. So those are fixed positions. 1st house always at the top. South Indian chart, the signs are fixed and the houses move. So Aries is always first. Pisces is always last. These are the signs. The houses change. So the 1st house could be Gemini, 7th house in Sag. You know what I'm saying? All right. So houses then. Houses represent where the things happen in the chart. A house is an abode, a domicile. We know a house by its address and what's inside of that house. You dig what I'm saying? So the houses, biblically, I guess you would say the houses are like the firmament. It's established already. This is just what it is. Then the Mazzaroth comes into play. You put the stars and the luminaries, where you put the stars there, and then the luminaries and the stars, and they all work together completely. So there are 12 houses that are used in this study. 1st house is the house itself and the approach to life, your overall health. 2nd house is the house of finances and possessions, your family. 3rd house is the house of efforts, communication, your siblings, like arm, shoulder. 2nd house is facing that. 4th house is the house of home, comforts, vehicles, peace of mind, your assets. It is the just breastplate. 5 is the house of enjoyment, fun, creativity, romance, children, heart diagram, and spine. 6 house is the house of health, your routine, your employment, your enemies, your obstacles, your ability to fight off enemies and overcome enemies, right? It is your intestines and organs like your spleen and pancreas. 7th house, the house of interactions, the area of interactions, the area of sex, desire, your spouse, your filial love. It is the waist and lumbar. 8th house, the house of secrets, privates, transformation, alchemy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. 9th house, the house of truth, God, pilgrimage, religion, knowledge. It is the thighs, hips, sciatic, Sagittarius, more so thighs, hips, sciatic, nerves. 10th house is reputation, livelihood, profession, achievements, needs. 11th house, the house of gains, income, friends, your allies, your network, your wishes, your dreams, the ability to get your wishes fulfilled. It is the shins. 12th house is the house of salvation, losses, detachment, spirituality, secret enemies, troubles, feet, ankle, troubles like insomnia and phobias, right? Okay, another thing before I move. Houses span 30 degrees. The houses span 30 degrees, not the sign. I don't know so much about overlap because the house is the house. You dig what I'm saying? Virgo, let's go and look at a few. Right? Virgo is huge. It can't just be 30 degrees, you might say, but with Virgo and the 6th house represent intestines in the natural zodiac. If your intestines go into your 5th house, it's a little bit in your 5th house, you probably got a diaphragmic hernia. You got a hernia in your diaphragm or something like that. If Virgo, your intestines go into your 7th house, you may have just been disemboweled. You dig what I'm saying? Now, another thing. Virgo representing the intestines. If we unravel our intestines, it's like 27 feet maybe. So our intestines, that one house or part of our bodies, is about 2-3 times as long as we are tall. However, it has to still fit in the space that is, it's designed to fit in. You dig what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be too much overlap. And that's with Virgo. Virgo is Earth, so we could kind of like find some real like physical to compare that to. Like Pisces, the large 30 degrees in a house. But Pisces represents salvation. Jesus is a fisher of men. It's not just one fish, it's 2 fish, right? And he fed a bunch of people with fish and bread. Fish represents salvation. God so loved the world, he gave his only son so that people can be saved, right? And then bread is the word of God. Bread is Virgo. That's wheat. She got wheat in her hand. So bread is the word of God. So salvation and the word of God has to be for everybody's participation. Because represent all the feet of the master of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? What's no one? Aries, like a small little constellation. It's still in the 30 degrees span of that house. You know what I'm saying? And your physical head, it's like the smallest, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just a little, it's not a tiny part, some people have heads, but it don't really come to the body. But that's Aries. Really? And then so in some houses I was saying they give it a very small section, but Scorpio is the natural of secrets, things that go on beneath the surface. Scorpio is the privates, dick and pussy. You put your dick and pussy below your belt, below your waist, right after. You know what I'm saying? Scorpio is a sign of secrets, so therefore it has something to hide. It doesn't want you to see. It just wants you to see. Look at my claws. The claws directed towards Libra. So the things that a Scorpion has show is in possession of. It's very charming. It's it's attractive. You can appreciate that, but it's like all they have something that stays with them. You dig what I'm saying? So it's private matter. Scorpio has to be below the belt because it is the 8th house of things beneath the surface, things that you don't see at all. You don't see all the detail of. You can't see totally. Scorpio is a dark sign, fixed water, and ruled by a malefic dark planet. So therefore, or Tamasic planet, who Thomas is a force of nature that dulls and darkens and creates a little bit of like so that like, don't make sense. Oh, it didn't show. Fuck. Fuck. I'm gonna just do it over like as is. I gotta wait for this to render again. Once that finish rendering that shit,